Hey guys, and welcome back to another ProGuides video. My name is Nathan, and today we're going to be looking at champions that need some nerfs on the Wild Rift. These champions have been dominating the Rift for far too long, and it's time to take a look at them. First on the list is Evelynn. Just hearing this champion's name causes headaches for a lot of Wild Rift's player base. Running around the Rift in stealth the moment that she hits level 5 is just one of the traits that make her so unbelievably strong and annoying. In addition to that, her jungle clear speed is abnormally fast and her innate scaling is even better. If you add the available items on top of that mix, you're set up for victory pretty easily. Compared to champions of League of Legends on the PC, you have the so-called growth in Wild Rift. Growth is nothing but passive experience gain, consequently even if you're not farming anything, you still gain experience points. More than the jungle camps in general provides very little gold for the time it takes to clear them. Outside of completing your very first clear, you'll rarely see junglers that farm up a large portion of their jungle. It is simply not worth it in comparison to ganking. If you're close to a minion that dies, you'll be granted extra free gold even if you weren't the one that killed the minion. Upon dying, a minion grants 40 to 50% of its gold value as local gold shared between all allies, meaning there's more gold shared if the minion was last hit by an ally champion compared to when it dies to anything else. Combining these facts with Evelynn's kit makes it even more obnoxious to play against her. Just imagine a stealth champion that isn't required to efficiently farm due to systematic conditions. Give her an execute and an item that amplifies executes even more. Another key difference from the PC League is the fact that Evelynn's first ability is slightly different. On PC, your very first cast of Hate Spike is a skill shot that upon hit increases subsequent damage dealt of the 3 spells or attacks. Whereas in Wild Rift, Hate Spike is just automatically targeting enemy champions close to you upon activation at all times. There are many angles to potentially nerf Evelynn as a champion. One could be the introduction of control wards that reveal stealth units. Another way of potentially decreasing her power would be diversifying available items or straight up targeting a very problematic item such as Infinity Orb. The moment that you've acquired this item and you're able to put an enemy in sub 35%, he's gonna die. The amplification from your execute and Infinity Orb will slice through MR without any care in the world. On the other hand, making bigger systematic changes to growth and how local minion gold functions are likely to be a bit too drastic and therefore won't be an option for at least now. However, one thing is certain, something has to be done about Evelynn as a champion. Interested in community, giveaways, and a lot of interaction? Well then check out our Discord in the description down below. Not hyped enough yet? No problem. We also run events and maybe you'll be able to participate in our Guess the Rank series as well. Is that good enough now? Probably not, doesn't matter. How about if you could hang out with some of the hosts? I'll be there, which I guess isn't a lot of incentive, but you know, I'll be there. Go check it out, and while you're at it, leave us a like and a sub to this channel to never miss anything Wild Rift again. Runs at you level 1, throws knives at your face, and chases you down once you've overstepped a tiny bit. Sounds like a typical Akali. Normally, assassins have a rather weak early game, which grants other champions the opportunity to punish those weaknesses and accelerate ahead. However, Akali as a champion is an absolute killing machine, even at level 1. As previously mentioned, she's going to throw her first ability at you, which slows you. Immediately after hitting, she spawns a little circle around herself. Leaving that circle grants her movement speed and bonus damage on hit with some extra energy refunded. Thanks to that bonus energy, she can do this 3 times in a row, which either kills you or sends you straight back to base. She can do this into nearly every matchup on Baron lane without even a care in the world. As she gains more levels and therefore access to her basic abilities, her power increases even more. Extra mobility and even more damage makes her a scary champion, and if she struggled with killing you before level 5, then it won't be a problem anymore after. Similar to Evelynn, Akali's execute mechanic on her ultimate ability deals an absurd amount of damage. In addition to her damage, she also has insane mobility. There's little anything that you can do to stop Akali from getting on your carry in any stages of the game. With the power of her shroud and dashes, she can force the enemy team to retreat, and if they refuse in doing so, she'll quickly take care of anybody in the backline, as MR itemization as of now, at least for the carries, isn't too diverse yet. Nonetheless, there are 2 things that should be addressed. 1, her early game impact and her ultimate's damage. It's always a blessing to see a good Akali outplay the living hell out the enemy team, but seeing her one-shot a carry with just her first ability and her second ult charge leaves a sour taste in our mouth. If she was just abnormally fed, that wouldn't be a problem, but she can do that throughout the majority of the game. So, if you see an Akali, just try telling your team to literally throw most of your team's CC on her face so she cannot do anything funny to you. Another important thing when facing Akali is her own positioning. A good Akali will instantly capitalize on the slightest mispositioning that she's presented with, be it in lane or in team fights. So try to be very aware of her current location. In addition to that, you may be spared if you purchase a stasis enchant and have some good reflexes. Before we continue on with the video, let's take a short break and look at our question of the day. If you had the ability to nerf a specific champion, who would you pick and what would you nerf? Let us know in the comments down below. Next on our list is another assassin. Katarina has made her debut in fashion and conquered the solo queue with style. Chaotic environments are Katarina's best friend, and solo queue is packed with those. With the laning phase mattering very little in Wild Rift, Katarina often finds herself in situations where she can simply dip in and out of lane and go ahead and locate to another location to make a play. Still, level 3 onward, she can easily wipe a non-cannon wave with her basic abilities, and the moment that she hits level 5, it's game time. Most of the squishy champions played in the mid lane cannot get close to a Katarina. Once caught out of position, she can instantly jump on you and kill you with her combo. This gets even worse the moment she has access to Hextech Gunblade. The item Slow nearly stops all your movement speed and grants her a perfect opportunity to snowball from. For now, there's only one champion in the mid lane meta that can deal with her without any types of problems, and that's Galio. She can't risk jumping on daggers, and her wave clear is vastly weaker compared to Galio's. More than that, whenever she's trying to dip out of lane, Galio can follow her with his ultimate ability. Normally, no other champions can really follow her into the fog of war simply for the fact that she'd one-shot them. Even though she left, do you really know that she's going to another lane? Maybe she's just waiting for you in a brush and you walk into her open arms, and I guess that doesn't sound so bad, but you might die. Keep in mind that Katarina isn't a champion that is supposed to stomp lane, but she definitely has the tools and the damage to do so, and once she gets rolling, it's going to be a nightmarish experience for the other team. Getting a single kill in a fight grants her full cooldown reset on all basic abilities and some time off her ultimate. Consequently, you'll be seeing a lot of daggers on the floor that deal incredible amounts of damage when Katarina picks them up. Potentially tackling those daggers and their damage might be a good approach to tuning down Katarina without harming her entire kit. Even with less damage on those, she'll still pack a punch, and due to her snowbally nature, she'll remain a good solo queue pickup. Speaking of somebody that counters Katarina, the next champion that we're going to be talking about is Galio. He's a very sturdy and tanky mage that excels in teamfighting situations. Compared to, for example, AP assassins such as Galio or Katarina, you might categorize him as an anti-carry with the tools to engage on the enemy team. His base stats are rather high, and his damage output, even without a lot of damage items, is also quite high. Pushing him out of lane is quite hard to do and requires multiple errors on his end, as he can nearly insta-kill the entire minion wave on level 1, and that doesn't change over the time unless he opts out for a full tank build. With Wild Rift being a very fast-paced game, it's normal to see a lot of rotations around the map. Consequently, you'll be presented with a lot of chances to skirmish to your heart's content. Especially in those situations, Galio will shine through his enormous crowd control abilities. Thanks to his ultimate ability, he can just fly over to another lane and crash down on any enemy that's currently bullying his ally. Upon impact, he knocks up all enemies in range, and shortly after he can CC them for ages while dealing quite a bit of damage to them. If there was anything that should be nerfed on Galio, it should be his wave clear. With that nerfed, he won't suffer too much as a champion, and there will be more counterplay available for the enemy team. The only other thing that comes to mind is his kind of wonky hitbox on his first ability. Let's be honest, how many times were you hit by its damage but not by its visuals? I don't know if it's light compensation, but sometimes you'll get damaged by it even if you're certain that you dodged it. But if you're looking for a mid laner that you can always blind pick no matter what, then Galio is your man. Or statue. He can easily breeze through any lane and even hard counter champions such as Katarina, which puts a smile on my face. Cause only a fuming Katarina is a good Katarina, am I right? This next champion has had quite a journey, from one of the weakest champions to one of the strongest in the game. Zigg has been steadily on the rise and remains a solid pillar in the mid lane. If you're control oriented and like just being in charge of zoning and objective control, then Zigg is your go-to pick. His insane range allows him to deal massive amounts of damage in teamfights. In addition to that, he can also zone off entire pathways with his third ability, making it very difficult for enemy teams to gain footing. Even in close quarter situations, he can quickly bounce using his satchel charge. Not only can he do that, but he can also participate in fights without even being there. Whenever the enemy team tries to do an objective, he can just throw his ultimate ability to steal or wipe out the entire enemy squad. His most troublesome area is his laning phase. In the early stages of the game, Zigg struggles a bit with mana as he needs to spam a lot of spells. After completing his first item, all of this changes. With the purchase of Luden's Echo, it becomes a true menace. Anything he touches takes so much poke damage, and depending on the situation, there is little that the enemy team can do about it. It overall feels like Zigg is too safe as a champion for how much control he provides. In solo queue, you'll be seeing a lot of chaos and mistakes, and therefore his ability to control won't seem as overbearing as it usually is. An interesting change that would at least impact his objective control will be lowering his ultimate's damage to epic monsters. However, I think for Riot, it's not an easy task to balance Ziggs, and approaching it slowly over time with little nerfs seems like the best way. This way we won't see insane jumps in viability as we did with Evelynn Soul, who simply just vanished from his prior throne in the mid lane. With that being said, we're at the end of this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and don't forget we don't have any impact on actual nerfs, and we don't know if Riot planned on nerfing any of these champions in the near future. It's just important to raise awareness that these champions are just way too good and in need of some changes. So make sure you use these champions before they get changed and farm yourself some elo. It's gonna be quite an easy feat, trust me. If you liked the video, leave us with a like and hit that sub button, and most importantly, don't forget to share your answers to the question of the day in the comments down below. As per usual, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a wonderful day. Peace.